What's going on YouTube? This is a Pop XP exclusive. I got Billy Tucci, the teen sensation, joining me in the house, my compadre, my partner in crime, and we got the doctor in the house. Dr. Blevins is here, and we're having an exclusive 5th or 6th time on the show, I think we're up to now, with Mr. Kevin Eastman. So I say, gentlemen, let's get him on the screen.
Bring him on.
Yes, sir.
Boom. Welcome, Kevin.
Hey, hey guys. So nice to be here with you again. Thanks for inviting me back.
Yes, thanks for coming back on. And unfortunately, we won't have time to talk about cake in this interview, but, you know, I definitely had some delicious cakes recently. But really cool to have you on. So much stuff going on with the movie and everything. But I actually want to start off with something that really piqued my curiosity. And it was, you know, kind of like your top crossovers you could do. And I'm just thinking, okay, you got Daredevil and Kamandi. And I'm just curious, I could see where Daredevil would come in, but how would you create a storyline or something involving the Turtles and Kamandi?
Well, I think it would almost write itself in so many ways that I love, you know, telling my history with, you know, Kamandi as a character. First movie I ever saw in the theaters was Planet of the Apes, when Jack Kirby, you know, re-envisioned it and expanded that into Kamandi. I grew up as a really tiny town in Maine, so I felt oftentimes I was probably like the last boy on earth. I wanted to be, you know what I mean? But the mutant animal aspect was definitely something that took hold and resonated, and I gravitated to. So I think there was a direct evolution to the creation of the Turtles from that. So I felt that I have a couple. Trust me, I've thought about it a lot and have a lot of notes and some sketches and designs. But I think bringing the Turtles into to the magic of comics, into a moment just when Kamandi came up above ground from Command Bunker D, in early in the series, and then I'd like to take it out to about 8 to 12 issues if the gods were with me. But but no, I think it's a perfect fit, because you think about it, like Kamandi comes from a world that doesn't exist anymore, which the Turtles live in. The Turtles are kind of, you know, have to stay hidden away in the world that they live in, and here they are in the world of Kamandi, where they're surrounded by animals. You know, animals are the ruling factor here. So it would be a really interesting dynamic to tell a really cool story within. So
do you think there'd be like a universe portal sucking the Turtles into his world?
Yeah, exactly. Let me make note of that.
You can have that.
No, but because we did as an issue that Peter and I dedicated to Jack Kirby around the time he was in his legal battle with Marvel, was a Donatello one shot where we Peter came up with the idea of Kirby and the Warp Crystal, where you had this pencil that he would draw and the things would come to life and then disappear, and except for this portal. And Donatello and Kirby went into the portal and had a bit of an adventure where Kirby stayed and Donatello came back. So it was thanks to Jack on that. So yeah, there's you know, thank goodness for the science of comic books. There's a lot of possibilities.
Oh, awesome. And then before I hand it over to Blevins really quick, now obviously, you know, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, it's out, it's now streaming. It's a really fun movie. My twin 5-year-olds loved it. You know, they were basically fighting each other while watching it. One's Leonardo, one's Raphael. And yeah, I just want to ask, you know, we've been in this universe of DC movies, Marvel movies, and they've just taken so much of that landscape in cinema. Is it time now? Is it time for other IPs to come in and take that mantle?
Oh, I hope so, because there's plenty of really amazing material to mine. You know, I love to remind people of things like, you know, the Road to Perdition, like, for example, was started as a comic, a graphic novel. There's so many fantastic stories out there that that could be told. But no, I was very proud of what they did with Mutant Mayhem. Jeff Rowe, the director, is fantastic, very funny, lifelong Turtle fan. Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, they really crafted a story which reminded me a lot of the original Turtle movie, which had the bit of the edge and a bit, you know, enough of the comedy and enough of the edge, so that it was for kids of all ages, so that the parents that had to sit through it weren't like, you know, oh my god, too much, I don't think. Yeah, but I think it was a good story with a great heart and a lot of action, and enjoyed it. Made me laugh out loud.
And the cool thing is a lot of the parents were fans too, are fans.
Which is you're so right, Billy. It's crazy now too, that when we do conventions, as we so love to do, that we get to see this generational aspect, which is even more, you know, kind of mind blowing than having it work the first time around. So.
Yeah. And were you surprised when you had a cameo?
It was really nice, you know, because they, you know, the thing is, I sold my rights years ago, but I work on all kinds of turtle stuff, but they don't have to bring me in, and they don't have to be nice to me for any reason. But Jeff and they came up with this great cameo for me to do, and it was not just like, hey, it's a guy selling newspapers. It's like Stan Lee when he would do his cameos. Did have it, have a bit of it mean something and something cool. So I was really proud and grateful they asked. It was fun.
That's
or like
awesome.
Dave Stevens when he blew up and burned to death in The Rocketeer as the German test pilot.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. That was so awesome. And
Yeah, right?
That's still The Rocketeer is still hands down one of my favorite adaptations. They did a really good job with that.
100%. 100%.
That's right. We got to get Billy on, Billy.
Yes, we're gonna get Billy on, Billy.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what a dream to get killed in your movie. If a movie's made on your property and you actually get killed, how great would that be?
Kevin, I wanted to first of all take congratulations, man, on getting your hands in the concrete, bro. How awesome was that, man? They did they did a pizza slice for you. I thought that was pretty awesome.
Mine, yeah, really. Talk about things you could never have imagined in your entire life. I mean, that was first trip to Hollywood. That's one of the places you go to. You go to the Chinese Theater, you see the Walk of Fame, you see the stuff, and so to be invited to do that was, the Turtles were, and then I got to go represent Peter and I got to sign Eastman and Laird on a slice of pizza.
Yeah, they changed the whole, like, it's Stars Forever, but they changed it just for you and gave you pizza, man. pretty awesome.
It was really fantastic. It was very nice, and I just thought, leading up to it and then doing it was one of those things you just go like, wow, never a billion years, like the fact, I'm 61 years old and I'm still drawing comics, for a living, it's pretty decent as well. Not living in my parents' basement.
Unfortunately, we all live in our own basements now.
I know, right? Yeah.
Look how you're the coolest basement on the planet.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, exactly.
Definitely. So obviously you made some announcements at San Diego Comic-Con, including The Last Ronin 2, which I think everybody was super excited about. We're ending the Armageddon game, which, by the way, I thought was a phenomenal story as well. You got the Lost Years with The Last Ronin, where you get to talk about, you get to see what's going to end up happening with Odin and Yi and Uno, and I mean, again, it's so great, all the properties and everything that you have going, and the different universes that you get to create. So with you continuing to build this out, are you looking to bring some of those people into the other universes where they don't exist? I know I constantly, every time I talk to you, I bring up, Venus. Venus was a character from the live action that you'd love to see in that. You just not too long ago brought Toka and Razor in, which I think was a huge hit as well. I mean, you got Casey Marie Jones and April, like, teaching these turtles the way, but I mean, they don't have the skills that Splinter had. So it's like, these turtles are gonna have like some obstacles to overcome, just in the realm of being taught. But I mean, what about, Jenica? Is Jenica looking at maybe coming into one of these other universes? And like, are you looking all the way back at the Barrage time of Shadow Jones, like Gabrielle's wife, like, our Gabrielle's daughter, from the whole grill, fiasco, from back in the day when Casey Jones got robbed and stuff. So,
yep. Well, we're gonna do
maybe I asked too much. I'm sorry if I did.
What was the middle part again? We're gonna do a giant, like, kind of like a Crisis on Infinite Earth, started by and caused by Ice Cream Kitty from the animated TV series, is going to come in and do the. What I love right now is the worlds that we have with Sophie Campbell's work on the ongoing series, which she did bring did a great version of bringing Venus back as sort of this Frankenstein Sally from Night Before Christmas style character, but she's done such a great job of bringing character and humanity and bring to Mutant Town the kinds of stories that she's been doing since issue 101. She's wrapping up at issue 150. And so that's sort of been an important part of the ongoing, then allowing us to do what Tom, which was his whole brainchild with Armageddon Game, was a story that he had conceived before we hit issue 100 that we wanted to go back to, because a lot of the fans were like, they liked this part of the ongoing, but they wanted to go back to see the bigness of some of the stuff we hadn't finished up and pre 100. And then, much like, you know, the multiverses that we've all loved and enjoyed and shared or created in different, you know, gigs, with the Turtles having Last Ronin as a separate sort of our, you know, our best job at stealing everything else from Frank Miller that we can. Last Ronin was our story, you know, to take it to the future and to do that thing. So right now we've got this these trajectories on these things, like with Last Ronin 2, Re-Evolution will, as you've clearly said, it will explore what's going on with the new Turtles. They're at age 15 when we start the series, and got the band back together, so to speak, the Escorza brothers and Ben Bishop and Tom and I.
Bishop.
Yeah, Ben Bishop. No, so for right now, you know, most definitely through 2024, which is, God, say it out loud, it's a 40th anniversary year.
Holy crap! Wow.
Things are, I know, it's like, let me adjust my Depends.
That's my 40th anniversary too.
Tell them kids to get off your
2024,
lawn.
40 years old.
Get off my lawn, kids.
Hey, you kids. No, oh, it's sad. He's, you know, says he tells everybody he created the Turtles. He's a drinker. He's a day drinker, right?
Yeah. No one believes him. No one believes him. Yeah. What do you got, Billy?
I'm just I'm just astonished by the whole thing. I'm just so happy for you. It's, you know, you've always been, you know, you are like a godfather to all of us self-creator, you know, self-publishers, of us create our own books, of that you live your dream, you know, that the two of you, what you were able to do, and you literally changed not just comics, but you changed pop culture. You changed the way toys are made. Look, I mean, you look at what, I mean, before the Turtle toys, the majority of toys looked like the Star Wars action figures, where they were all stiff.
Yep.
You know, and it again, it's from something that the story you told us of the two of you starting it, and just how it exploded, and the joy that you guys have gifted the world, if I could say that. And as always, you're always so cool to all of us. You know, I'm approaching my 30th anniversary next year, so 2024 is she's 30th anniversary, and I know that if it weren't for people like you guys, and with your success, what you had at your initial success, I know I wouldn't be here. And I just want to thank you. And I think it goes more than just being being someone who create, you know, an independent creator, but just as just an overall fan. Just thank you.
Well, you know, first and foremost, that's saying a lot, and I deeply and humbly appreciate it. It's very, very kind, and I do feel like, you know, there's a great saying where every artist is a thief, and I agree with that 100%. And I think, like, you know, if not for you know, the Jack Kirbys and the Will Eisners, and I know, you know, I would just about pass out when I talked to Russ Heath in the day. You know, it's like all the John Severin, all these people that inspired us, leading up to the discovery of underground comics with the Richard Corbins and the Robert Crumbs and, you know, Rip Off Press, Dave Sim, of course, Wendy and Richard Pini. It was all bits and pieces that we collected on the way, and it's almost like somebody gave us the right moment to, like, grab the baton and carry it a little bit further down, which just opened up a few other doors that I think, you know, what Frank was doing with Dark Knight and Ronin, what Alan Moore, you know, finally pulling in European comics and manga and all these things into our spectrum and our toolkit. But it's just great to see everything that we've been able to do together, and people have fed off each other and expanded it and grown, and to where we still make a living doing something that we love since we were very young. And that's the greatest gift, to be honest. It's but it is, you know, it's, you know, I'm a child of pop culture, and I fed on it, feasted on it, and sort of Back out there.
Yeah.
And what a joy, you know.
And what I adore too is that you know where you came from. I mean, we all stand on the shoulders of giants. And it's something that, but we'll always, and we'll always live in their shadows, you know? It gets a little frustrating sometimes. You see a lot of newer creators, in my opinion, working for the mainstream, that they want to change these characters or whatever. It's almost like they're standing, they know they're standing on the shoulders of these giants, but they don't have a problem pissing on their heads. You know, and it's just so, like, again, to hear from you and your love of them and your appreciation of them, and you bringing up Eisner and Sim and the Peonies and Kirby and just, you know, what they did. It's I guess maybe we're just part of a different generation, I guess, but it's a damn good one.
Well, you know, look forward to you coming up on your 30th, and yeah, we're still thrilled to be back out there doing shows. You know, we've got a lot of shows booked for the 40th next year. We still got a couple more shows this year. We're going to be in Rhode Island coming up, and Memphis just next weekend. New York City Comic Con, hopefully. You know.
Oh, great!
Oh, nice.
Oh, I'm gonna send you an email about something then.
Please do. You know,
Yeah.
You know. Yeah,
Well, if you don't mind, do you play video games at all, Kevin? Are you a video gamer?
you know, in years ago, yes. Stopped. Only get to be. I got to be too fond of them, and it get to be like suddenly, you know, the 4 hours I was supposed to be drawing something or writing something, I was playing video games. It kind of went the wayside, and it's been so many years that you know, my wife and I would occasionally, our son would drag us up and say, "Hey, look at this," and we'd be like, "Oh my god," you know, getting vertigo just watching you spin around.
Yeah.
Well, you know, in the realm of video games, the Turtle stuff has been, I mean, it's been massive. Like ever since Shredder's Revenge came out, of course, here on the 30th, the DLC, the Dimension Shell Shock came out, which introduced Karai and Usagi Yojimbo as playable characters, which adds to an already incredible cast with April and Casey Jones and the Turtles and Splinter and everybody. But one of the biggest things you cannot deny is the hype behind the Last Ronin video game. Like it is absolutely insane. IGN is just going crazy about it. The fans are going hype about it. Like I mean, fans are already hyped when they got to see the Turtles in Mortal Kombat. You know, like they were excited to see them there. So I guess my question, like, bringing that third world, open world area to the Last Ronin, where you can actually go in, kind of like the Ghosts of Tsushima, and, you know, like some of those other games that have that. Do you think that it'll open up more versions of that type of gameplay for your other properties, like the Turtles that you've had before? You know, like, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's because it'll be a universe in itself, although it's, you know, it's built out of continuity and built out of those different universes and out of time. So when the creation of the work that we've seen, the development that they brought both Tom and I into to consult and see what they're doing, and they're building a foundation, much like when we built the Roninverse. You know, based on the original idea that Pete and I had, they're building it out, and it gives you opportunity to add to it a foundation to build all kinds of possibilities and stories and other characters that could be brought into it, new and old. So I think it's a perfect venue for. With Last Ronin, we were able to take it all the way there in intensity and without, you know, going too crazy. But we got to get pretty heavy-handed in it, and the story-wise and stuff. And I think that it wouldn't work more as a more general audience as mass media, but as a video game for the audience that's fans of Last Ronin, it's perfect. And I think it's going to be something that is going to work in a way that I think it's going to be a lot of fun for a lot of people to go on and play. And I might have to brush up on my skills too.
Well, I definitely hope that I get my press pad back so I can get the pre-download and be able to do a review and stuff on it. And I have one more question. I promise I won't ask you any more.
Yep. I got a joke.
Armageddon, like, you again, the Turtles have been so crazy. Last Ronin, all the stories involving Last Ronin, and then you put out, you know, Armageddon game. I mean, you also had like Turtles and Mortal and the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which again I think is a great crossover. But you had an Armageddon game that was kind of set in there. Do you think that a lot of people slept on that? Because it was such a good story. And when we're add on to that, do you think that people could have never imagined the Rat King being that evil of a villain? Like, because he's never been portrayed like that. And it was really kind of frightening, to think that that's how he was able to be portrayed.
Yeah, no, I think it's one of those, it's a bit of a sleeper that I think people were like already engrossed in sort of carrying on with everything the plot wise that has been done by Sophie. Because I mean, Armageddon came 2 years plus after, almost 3 years after issue 100. So it was a lot of those threads had sort of were in soft cover and back there, but they were sort of engrossed in this thing. So when it came out, it was pulling on very specific things that were established before issue 100. And I think it's the people that discovered it, and we've been, it's been great that people have had the kind of comments that you said, like, oh my goodness, I forgot about this and this and this, and I love that you guys went back and addressed those kind of things. So I think maybe as time goes on, that'll be something that'll be more fondly looked back on and reread or read for the first time, maybe that kind of thing. So.
Well, very cool, Kevin. And hey, we appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
We'll be there for the next round of press. And, it's always a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah. I hope I get to see you next weekend. You're right around the corner from me in Memphis. So
awesome.
I'll definitely make sure I come by and say hey, so you'd be like, hey, I'm that guy that asked you all those crazy questions.
Please do. Yeah. Please come by and say hi. And I mean, when we're in New York, if you guys are there, definitely come by and say hey. And, amongst the madness and the mayhem of New York City Comic Con. So.
Cool.
Yeah, it's always a good time. All right, Kevin, have a good one. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kevin.
Pleasure talking to you guys as always. Can't wait to do it again.
You got it, brother. All right.
All right, bye.